Today, 13 years ago, where were you? I could tell you where I was, and I probably should sound less happy telling you what it is, but here I am. 13 years ago, I was contemplating whether life was still worth living. I was running from a lot of my pain, a lot of my sorrows, a lot of my frustration, and it was the pit of my depression phase of that time. Sort of, like I was young, 19, unable to really cope well with the world. I had began self-harming as a younger teen. And so this evening that was full of despair, a very long, dark night of the soul, I was with someone that I just didn't feel loved by. And I didn't feel like they wanted to be there. I didn't feel like they wanted to be part of my life. And they were like my partner at the time. So that was very difficult as a young person to deal with. And things just felt overall crazy. Like work for the most part was good. Although I had a really weird schedule. I was trying to do the whole college thing and do get a degree. I was pre-med at that time. And wow, did life get the best of me. So that evening I was with my partner that I didn't feel very much love about for. He left after we got into some fight. Well, actually, he kind of left because I was just like a blubbering ball of mess. I was crying. I just felt bad. Like I'd never been just so depressed. Like everything seemed wrong at this time in my life. So he leaves. I'm just like in my room bawling. Like I mentioned, I used to self-harm as part of my coping mechanisms. So, in order to not feel the pain inside of my heart and inside of my body and my being and my soul, I decided to numb that pain by inflicting self mutilation upon myself. And then to go beyond that, I even had like the audacity at this time to think like, oh, maybe if I take some pain medicine before I do this, it will help numb the pain of the mutilation taking place by my own hand, right? So I did that. I went ahead and took some medicine that I shouldn't have taken, 2 handfuls, and I mean, like over the counter meds. Don't recommend it, kids. Don't do this. This isn't for kids anyway. But just like, if you're an adult watching this, don't recommend. Don't do. There are suicide hotlines available to you. I'll have to find it and put it in the description because I don't have the number on the top of my head. But very important you seek help, which is what I did. So I, did do the self mutilation thing. Was like just bawling in my room. Uh, Luckily, at this time, I had 2 roommates that were some friends of mine. And one of them had kind of been aware of this type of coping mechanism that I had in my life because she suffered through some difficult times as well. And so, with that in mind, she kind of could tell that something was up. And then she came to console me and came to see what was going on and noticed that I was trying to kind of hide my arm, and she bandaged me up, pretty quickly after she saw that. She, then proceeded to help clear out all things that could cause to more of that in my life. And so she cleared it all out, trying to take things away, because when you're like an emo kid that does that kind of stuff, you have a couple things like laying around and you shouldn't really have that, right? So I continued on to just feel my feelings of pain and misery, and I just felt like I wanted to do more bad to myself. So then I went out to my friends and told them, like, can you please take me to the hospital? I feel like I might do something worse. Like, I don't really know what worse is right now, but I need help. So, thankfully, these friends were also angels at this time, and they took me to the ER where, I proceeded to tell them the story about how I had at this point overdosed, and they were looking at my arm, putting it, bandaging it back up. And because of the medicine I took, they had me stay overnight so I could take toxic medicine, like that reversal stuff. It was too late to throw it up. I'd already had ingested it for a couple hours at this point. So they just gave me IV medicine to kind of stop that from going through my system and damaging my liver and things like that. And that night in the hospital, I really had to contemplate, like, is this something that I really want? Am I really ready to tap out of life? It hadn't been my first time, at the age of 19. It wasn't my first time contemplating if I wanted to, not live anymore. Unfortunately, I had previously experienced those same similar feelings when I had been rejected and abandoned by some people, which, kind of same scenario at this point. I felt abandoned and rejected and unwanted and unloved. And so here I was this evening in the hospital contemplating, like, is that really what I want? I used to remember my mom used to always tell me, there's always a continuation, there's always something to change. It'll always pass unless you stop living. If you stop living, then things don't ever get better for you, right? So I was able to talk to the people, because they send counselors in to talk to you and like to tell you, like, oh, is this really what you wanted? And then that was where I like came to go on to proceed to like discover at this time in my life that like I didn't want to die, right? Like I wanted to live. I wanted to still learn what to do with my life and how to explore it and all. So I went through some healing journey there for a while. But just like a lot of us, like a lot of people, I was not done yet learning some difficult lessons. Proceeded to get into some toxic relationships after this time. Had some more abandonment and rejection occur. 13 years later, I am here. A divorce later, I am here. Domestic violence later, I am here. Getting a restraining order, I am here. Birthing a child, I'm here. Being pregnant with that child for a couple months and facing those inner demons again, wanting to self-harm after so many years. Like I think at this time it was like 9 years since then, like around 9 years ago. I've had it like a lot of bad things for me have happened in November ever since that day 13 years ago. Unfortunately, I did meet my ex-partner, in this November time. So that also related to a couple of other things for us, right? Like so I was really pregnant, really beginning my pregnancy. And instead of being grateful and thankful that we were pregnant, I ended up spending it alone, crying, trying to not hurt myself because I was carrying a child and thinking like, I'm like 29 at this time. It's been like 9 years since I last did that. And I'm so frustrated and upset with the way things are in my life that was like something that popped in my head. And like that sorrow and that devastation of like having that desire come up after so long was just so difficult. But I was able to cope through it. I already had known that it wasn't going to solve any of my problems. It wasn't going to really help me in any way, shape, or form. So I didn't do it. Coped. 2 years ago, like I said, domestic violence hit my home after Thanksgiving. And I never felt like I had been endangered with my partner ever at this time. Until this time is when I really felt like he could have potentially hit me. Some things were broken in my home. It forced a separation on my part because that was just like a hard no tolerance rule for me. And then last year I got divorced. One of the things I never really wanted in my life. Yet looking back, 8 years ago when I met this person, I didn't love myself at all. I had come from an abandonment, a rejection of a lost friend. I wasn't clearly thinking. Instead, I latched on to what I now see as like a trauma bonded situation, very unhealthy on both of our ends. And that led me down a path of a lot of despair, unfortunately, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger and resentment that happened before our separation, before the divorce happened. And to really go back and realize that without that situation, I might not be here. I might not have realized that what was missing was that I was missing me. I was missing who I was. I no longer like knew who I was. I got trapped in the negative cycle of all bad, all things, trying to control these things that I had no control over. And so here I am, 13 years later, thankful I was not successful in ending things for myself. And so here I am making a pledge today for 13 months to focus on me, my journey, my mission to help women warriors break negative cycles and inspire self-love within myself and within others so that I can live my most joyful, authentic, and passionate life. And hopefully some other people will feel that way as well. Today I pledge to not seek out any romantic relationships. So PSA, public service announcement for any men following, like, do not ask me out. I am not interested. Please just keep moving along. And I'm really dedicating it to me this year to figure out my interests, to get my health, my mind, my body, my spirit, all on the next elevated level. I want to purify who I am. No alcohol, obviously no relationships, so celibacy life for me. I want to gain my spirituality. I want to develop this business, coach more women, help more women feel empowered, and really allow myself to be transformed by this time that I'm going to sacrifice, in a sense of I'm ready to sacrifice all of my old beings, my old ways. Like, I want to allow my old self to just pass on by. Like, I want to, not pass on, because like all those memories, all those things are so important and they're part of my journey, but to like accept them and to heal from them, to continue healing from them. I'm pledging to make note of those things that trigger me and to replace them with healthier things and objectives, like my mission, like being here, like creating content, and by helping you along your journey too. So I'm working on a PDF. As soon as I have it done, I'm going to link it below in the description, where you can go to get it, and so that you can hopefully, if you're interested, make your own pledge to inspire self-love, because we are not alone on this journey. You are not alone on this journey. I am not alone on this journey. There are so many women suffering from self-love deficiency. And those things, sometimes we don't notice. I'm thankful I noticed before it was too late. Before I was successful at allowing life to rule me and to be chaotic, to where I would have wanted to actually take the most beautiful gift that I have. The gift of life, to be here with you tonight, today, whenever it is that you're here watching. Thank you for being here, a part of my journey. Today, I didn't even do makeup because Sundays, it's a Sunday today. I like to give my face a break, love who I am, believe that I am beautiful, and know I am beautiful without makeup. The inside of me is beautiful, the outside of me is beautiful. And that's all I want to do, is to resonate and make more love within myself, and to really give myself the opportunity to love the woman I'm becoming. That young girl from 13 years ago, I love her now too, so much more than I loved her when I was going through that phase in my life, that darkness. So I encourage you. Mommy, I encourage you to do your self-love journey, because you are worth it and you deserve it. Just like how I know I'm worth it and I deserve it. Anyway, much love. Follow and subscribe to be part of the ride.